Hi everyone, welcome back to Mirror Mind. I'm here with a guest, Tumi. The full name is ITUMELENG.
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 Yes, ITUMELENG.
What does that mean again?
It means be, well, it's a sentence. It means be happy, but plural. So I would say to you and Brennan, be ITUMELENG. But it actually means joy. And so probably Tswana as well.
Yeah.
Be happy.
It's a beautiful name.
Yeah. Second name is Jacqueline. I like to say it like that.
Jacqueline.
Yeah. Because I'd like to believe, you know, there's exoticness in the Frenchness, but it's Jacqueline. Yeah. So it's Jacqueline, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm here with Jacqueline ITUMELENG. She's one of the people I've had a chance to talk to on social media. Funny enough, a lot of people that end up coming here is we meet, like we've never met.
Yeah.
So, and I love this, you know, especially the first time when we're meeting, because everything becomes, you know, I guess it's like a first date.
Yeah.
You know, everything you're expecting, you're trying to find out about someone else and so on. But I've had a chance to talk to her a couple of times, and she's someone who seems to be very serious about this inquiry about the mind. And it's a pleasure for me, and I hope for you, to have her here today. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks.
Do you mind maybe
me.
introducing yourself, give them a bit of your background, if you feel comfortable?
Sure, yeah. Again, I'm ITUMELENG. I grew up in Soweto. Love my family. Have a big mind, I think. And yeah, just excited to be here. I think as we go, maybe you'll just find out just more about me. But for now, I'm just really excited to have found this page and just be here, you know, speaking to you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, now since I gave you a compliment, a beautiful name, I just thought maybe we should talk about beauty. What is beauty? Because I've noticed a lot of people have preferences, you know, and we seem to think that our preferences are beauty.
Yeah.
So maybe my favorite color is green or red.
Yeah.
Then red is beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at you wearing some blue shoes.
Which
I'm
is,
like, what a ugly thing. Then if beauty is subjective, then is there such a thing as beauty? Or there's really beauty that perhaps we don't... maybe the source of all these different preferences could be the ultimate beauty?
Re-ask the question again, just differently.
Yeah. Okay, let's make it simple. What is beauty?
I think, you know, I always explain it in a societal way. Obviously, how you physically look, I suppose. People, yes, will define it as how a person is within themselves, you know, how a person thinks, how they treat other people, you know, the beauty of the things that they do. But I think in a general sense, we all, you know, focus on the actual visual and aesthetic of a person. And that's what we define beauty is. And that's where preference then comes from. You know, you prefer green, I prefer blue. You know, you think green is beautiful. I might not think that green is beautiful, although I do, you know. But in this sense, that's what I think it is. It's sort of like another construct that we then have to also now get through and sort of live up to, that we didn't necessarily create, because who can say that their eye is the beholder of beauty? Whose eye? It's like the people of MasterChef. Why are their tongues special? Is it a test that they go through? Is it a, you know, why are their tongues palatable to people's food to the point of being able to say this is good or this is bad? Whereas if someone else eats it, it's, well, but I think this is good and you think this is bad. So I think the definition is very, the definition I understand is very shallow. It's kind of shallow, you know, how you look, aesthetics. Never anything that is, I don't know, weighty almost. If it's weighty, then it usually comes with something. It's beauty and something else. What can we put the weight too. Yeah.
And maybe we can say, what is the ground of beauty? Where does beauty come from? Before the different. Okay, let's say I have a certain preference. Even when I look at people, maybe I like tall or short people, or I like dark or light skin.
Yeah.
What makes me like something over something else?
I have no idea. Is it not how you primarily grew up, the things that surround you? I know that things that I like or don't like are primarily from the environment that I grew up in. I know in my family, let me actually not in my whole family. Let me speak to my primary caregivers. Beauty wasn't necessarily like severely important, but it was a thing that needed to be there. You needed to look, a certain way. So I think it always starts in like sort of the standards that your primary caregivers have, or your environment. What kind of environment are you around? If you are in Soweto and dark people are preferred, right? And you grow up in that environment, that's what you understand. Whereas if light people are preferred somewhere else, you grow up in that environment and that's what you understand. And, then I don't know if there's an imbalance as to, okay, fine, can these people actually come together and agree that they both are the same? Or is it that, no, the idea then of power comes in and it's because we've got silkier hair, or we've got, I don't know, we've danced better, or, I'm making that analogy on purpose. But that's what it is. It's usually, just like the environment and the surroundings of the primary experiences that
so
that
your past shapes what you like, the way you were nurtured.
I believe it is an introduction to how...
Yeah, you can change later on.
Yeah.
But your first contact with what you like or what you don't like is what you're given to. Let's say you like pap.
Yeah.
You must have been given pap first to try it.
Yeah, to try it,
and so on. And the more you eat pap, the more you get accustomed to it. And then later on, giving up pap. I have, back in my family, pap is like a thing. Yeah. Especially my mom's side. Yeah. So you can see she likes everything. She likes nice kind of food and all that. Me too. But when she comes to visit, right, and she brings that home food. Yes. Things that I grew up eating. Yeah. It's just better than any five-star hotel. Yeah. So there seems to be attachment to the past, and that's what I call beauty or interesting and so on. Yeah. If you go to Mexico, the kind of music they listen to, and you come here in South Africa, let's say in Soweto, it's completely different. I could listen to Mexican music and like, what is this rubbish? Yeah. They don't see the beauty of it. Yeah. From a Mexican mind, it's really beautiful. Absolutely. So can we say then that beauty or preferences is dictated by our past? Preferences, even the things that we don't like, the things that we do not prefer, you must have gone through some sort of accumulation before for you to go some experience, some interaction or something. I believe that those are the contributors of those things, of the things that you like or don't like. Yeah. And maybe even deeper, maybe even in our DNA, there's a certain preference. Can we say that we prefer to be safe than not to be safe? I think everyone always prefers to be safe, especially when living in such a state of fear all the time. Not that we're always afraid and we're always, but like, I think naturally living in a state of fear and survival, to answer your question. I'd like to elaborate, but I'm not sure how. I get it. Yeah. Take your time. I'm trying to see where this is taking us, because I feel having a preference is an outcome of having accumulated a certain kind of information, a certain kind of lifestyle.
Yes.
Right? And now our minds become kind of like rigid.
Yes.
We do not want to
expand or
expand
look at
it.
something differently. Absolutely, yes.
Most of the people, I mean, if you've gotten used to drinking coffee all the time, and then maybe you introduce to some other funny drink, you don't really want to leave the coffee. Like, you know, your lifestyle is this way.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more we grow, the more closed-minded we become.
Yeah. Nuclear, very nuclear-minded, very coming in. Yeah, yeah.
So if beauty is, let's say beauty is always there. Everything is beautiful. There's no ugly music, for example.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not used to it. If you were born in a loud place, you'd like loud music.
Yeah.
If you're born in like a quiet place, you'd like maybe quiet music.
Yeah.
So loud music and quiet music is beautiful.
Yes.
But we tend to have a preference, right?
Yeah.
According to what we've been exposed to.
Yeah.
And then the more we accumulate things, the more we start denying beauty. Because if you're denying anything else now, you're denying beauty.
Okay. Could you elaborate on that?
Okay.
Maybe an example, for instance. Yeah.
Let's say I'm a Congolese, right? I grew up listening to maybe French music.
Yeah.
Right? A certain kind of music. Before accumulating all of that, you know, when I was being introduced to it, beauty is the fact that I'm discovering music itself.
Okay.
The sound, the noise, and all that.
Yes.
Now, the more I accumulate that, the more it forms my personality.
Yes.
I now have a personality. I have a preference of this kind of music. Now, I come here in South Africa, I listen to house music. Actually, this is a real experience. When I got here, when I got here, I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
There's no singing. It's just, you know, instruments. I'm like, what is this? How can people even listen to this? You know, I felt as if you guys were lazy. It's like you didn't, like just put a word in there, you know, sing or something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, even the singing part, the language is a barrier. I couldn't listen to it. So the first reaction was to reject that.
Yeah.
So I'm rejecting that because I don't see the beauty of it.
Yeah.
To you, who's grown here in South Africa, you were accumulating that it was beautiful, right?
Yes.
So it took me a while, really, after living here, after attaching that music to good moments, that I now started loving the house music. Like right now, Amapiano is my thing, you know?
Yeah.
When I listen to it, it's like,
it's all our thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the whole world now, because of social media,
yeah.
they're being introduced to a new kind of beauty.
Yeah.
So a man who has accumulated a certain kind of experiences, a certain kind of things, right? He becomes rigid. He doesn't want to introduce anything new.
Yeah.
So when he listens or he sees something new, it seems ugly, kind of. It doesn't fit into his criteria of beauty.
There's a tainted sort of innocence to want to discover. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. A tainted innocence. So like children, you know, children are always, they don't always say, no, you know. Children are always willing to discover. Crawling kids, preschool kids, learning, you know, other kids, oh, this is what you do at home and stuff like that. So I suppose then, you know, is it taking away beauty when you decide that, okay, fine, I don't necessarily like this because I don't relate to it? It doesn't necessarily take away the beauty, it takes away your relation of it. So I think it's either the beauty becomes tainted, or maybe we're just defining beauty incorrectly.
I think we're defining beauty incorrectly. We're trying to find what is real beauty.
Yeah.
Because if your kind of beauty is not my kind of beauty,
Absolutely.
Is it really beauty?
It can't be, because it can and it can't. Ask that question again. I want to answer you properly. Yeah.
So you look at a mango. Mango is the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
I look at a mango, and like it's the ugliest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Then it means our definition of what's beautiful
Yeah.
actually isn't beauty itself. We
Yeah.
are almost corrupting beauty. I mean, we're
Yeah,
not in
it's
touch
a
with
clashing
beauty.
idea,
Yeah.
and it can't necessarily be if we are to define it then and say, well, beauty is this and this is what we explain and understand it, there can't be then different sort of paradigms or perspectives of beauty if we are
Yeah.
allowing ourselves to define what actually, not even the idea of beauty, because the idea of beauty is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
It's being subjective as to this mango's ugly, this mango's pretty, this mango might just be okay, you know. So those are completely different explanations. They don't correlate with one another. So I don't think it can actually even be quite a definition, because then where are you going to look first? What kind of sort of process, or even how can I say, I hate saying rules, but like processes and what do you look at, like reference, what do you reference with? You know how most people use the Bible, for instance, with Christianity for references. I don't believe it's the complete right thing to do, because you know, but
You're shutting down.
No, not even shutting down. But what I'm saying is that how can we then define the beauty? You know, how can we define beauty if we can't all accept that this is what kind of beauty this is? You know, not to put down Christianity or anything. Just that was just an
There's
example.
some very hectic Christians that look at this thing.
Are you gonna cut that part out? Cut it out.
No, don't worry. No,
I was Christian.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Anyone decent enough will understand what you mean.
Absolutely.
I don't think. See, if you try to, I guess maybe this falls also under beauty. If you try to, there's no way you can try to please everyone. I think it's up to everyone else to understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
You know, otherwise it's always going to be a clash. But it just so happens there's a lot of people who, as we said, they've become rigid.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear anything new.
Yeah.
And I think those are the ugliest people in the world. You know, if we're going to talk about beauty,
if
that is
you want to define it, yes.
So you see, we've got a whole, let's say beauty has spectrum, right?
Yeah.
We've got all different colors and all that. There's black, white, yellow. Then there's a black. You can combine all of this and you have all this palette of colors. Beauty isn't a single color. Beauty is the fact that color is.
Yeah.
So you're going
Makes
to
sense.
another layer of beauty, not just a preference. For instance, the way I look at it, right? I look at you, okay, you're very beautiful.
Thank you.
That's just one layer, you know, physical and all that. But then there's another layer that I'm looking at, which is the fact that looking is happening itself.
Yes.
Before my judgment of this is beautiful, this is
Yes.
ugly, there's a looking happening.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's another sort of beauty.
Yeah.
You know, there's listening happening.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from that level, it seems like what is always beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the very fact of listening to a noise or a sound,
Yeah.
be it loud or not loud,
Yeah.
is beautiful itself. It's
Yes.
beauty in action. So it seems like beauty is anything that you are discovering, anything new. But the moment you've acquired it, you've kept a memory of it,
Yeah.
you're starting to build up ugliness.
Yeah.
Because you're filling up your mind with what you think should be there.
Yeah. The comparisons instead of further
Exactly.
exploring it.
So now you start comparing what I've acquired to what I'm about to acquire, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can we say that is the beauty?
It's a tough one.
Now let's look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could be wrong.
Yeah.
See, one thing with this is, that's why I don't like preparing before. It's good when you dive right into it.
Yeah.
And then you find out about it. I don't see it as there's a right way or wrong way.
Yeah.
So if you see something, you just have to pursue it until you maybe stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So can we say that beauty is, or can we say that everything that is beauty?
Including the bad things that occur.
Yeah, including the bad things.
I'm going to give a very controversial answer and say yes.
Yeah, develop that.
Is there beauty in everything? Sure. There is. I'm trying to try and make an example of the bad things that do happen. So for me, let me explain it through myself. I suffered or struggled rather a long time with mental health issues, and of course I never saw the beauty in that. But it was really difficult. It has been difficult. It's still difficult. But the beauty is, I understand it so much that now it's becoming my friend and not necessarily my adversary. So this bad thing that happened to me, this bad thing that, made me do or say things or feel certain ways, this very bad thing is the reason why I'm sitting here now. Yeah. It more than anything motivated me to discover why is it that this thing is a part of me, because there is a reason why it is a part of me. I can't just have borderline personality disorder. I can't just have PTSD or complex PTSD. I can't just have, sorry, it's many diagnoses.
I think
many diagnoses.
Most of us do have them. Some are just not aware of them.
Yeah, some are. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think everyone does have them. It's just the awareness, but also that's a very complicated topic, which we will get to. But I found the beauty in my illnesses, because it made it so much easier for me to explore people, understand people, explore this page, explore anything and everything. It made me realize that I cannot have, any kind of entitlement to anything, but myself and what I explore and what I understand and what I'm willing to take in and put out, things like that. So that's the beauty that I saw. I mean, it's still really difficult. I mean, some days I wake up and I'm just like, what, God, today you and I are fighting, and I don't want to know. But, at the end of the day, I know that I can concoct something in my mind and write out something or assist someone with a particular thing that they're going through that I can relate to, because I've been through that very experience. And that is beauty all in itself. Yeah.
So you see, that's just right. See, you going through that, as you're going through what you call bad, you have no idea how you'll come out of it.
Yeah.
It could have gone better.
Yeah,
by the way, some people
worse.
never get out of it.
Yeah.
But I know it's a very difficult thing accepting. For instance, now we're talking about, if you're talking about bad things, let's say accidents or even death, a relative who dies.
Yeah.
That's something that must shake you up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But doesn't death has its parts in life?
Yeah. It taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before understanding the beauty of the things that I was going through, there was a lot going on, with my family and my parents. And I didn't appreciate life as much as I do now. I didn't try as much. I thought I did, but I think I was just living for my parents, maybe. They were living vicariously through me. And of course, children always, they love their parents. I love my parents. I still do. I love them. I'll always love them. But, there were certain things that, certain applications that weren't, the best. So I'm just trying to get back to my point. Can we rewind as to what I was saying?
Yeah, I think we're saying the place of death in life.
Oh, yes. So I didn't really appreciate life. I was on autopilot. I was blinded almost, as if there was this sort of veil all over me. And then my dad fell sick. And for 3 months, we just watched him just waste away from cancer. And he was just going and going and going. And throughout that 3 months, that he was going, there was more life coming into me, sort of. Yes, it was horrible and it was sad. And there was a part of me that definitely died when he did pass. And you can feel it almost. But then there's another part that actually came alive. And that was my thing about death, my connection to death. Yes, my dad passed away. Yes, it was bad. Yes, it's horrible and it's sad and everything. But it taught me the importance of the discovery, understanding my journey, and it always exploring, living life my way, and not necessarily to the detriment of other people or myself. So, and that's what I believe, about life and death. There was an analogy that they made at church. I think that's the only thing that I probably listened to in church. That you have maybe a ship sailing from here, from South Africa. And all the people are sad because maybe they're soldiers or families and they buy, it's sad. But on the other side, there are people who are excited to wait for them, So there it is. It's the life and then it's gone and it's death and, and then, but on the other side, there is life again. You are bringing back that beauty again, So that was my understanding of life. Death really did affect me, but I think it affected me in a sense that now I feel it. I'm inside my body. I feel alive. I wasn't alive. For 29 years, I was just, I don't know where I was. But death kind of assisted. Yeah, it assisted in me, living. Living is not for the weak.
No, it's
and
not,
it's not for the weak. And
it's a very serious business.
Yeah, and death reminded that. So as sad as it was, I think it was the most necessary thing to happen to me. Yeah.
So, can we say that a beautiful mind is a mind that is full, that sees things in its entirety? A partial mind will always see ugly things. For instance, you didn't have the example you used, soldiers living here, it's sad. On the other hand, there's beauty waiting for, I guess, the kind of what people call beauty, because they're going to save and all that. People are going to be happy. So if you don't have the full view of that whole scenario, you're seeing ugliness.
Absolutely.
So a partial mind is always ugly.
Yeah.
So what is a full mind? How is there such a thing as a full mind?
A full mind, a fullness as in the reaching of peace, or a full mind as in after writing your book you've put a full stop? Because they can't, if everything is eternity and there's a circle. Remember that there was a dot circle that you did, and it was just doing this and you're explaining God. But there's another one, 3.14, something like that just goes like this and like this and like this. Pi, yes. But it just keeps going and it's going. But even though it's going and going and going, it's still staying within that simple dot. It's just the many journeys that are coming within together, the parallel universes, your parallel selves and stuff like that. So to say that a mind can just be full, I think you are then dead by that time, are you not? Maybe the body is. But I think the mind keeps going. The mind lives. I don't know if it's the mind or the spirit, but I think there's so much eternity within it that how can you stop? How can it be full? What is it full of? Is it full of the things that you know of the world? Have you explored everything in the world? Have you explored all the things that are ever changing in the world? Is that the fullness that you're talking? If you mean peace.
No, peace could be an outcome.
Okay.
But if you're going to say a full mind, if things are eternal, if we accept that things by nature seems to be eternal, maybe not human beings, but just life seems to be eternal, then could we say that a full mind, a complete mind is a mind that doesn't wait for death. It lives with death. So it
continues with death.
So there's no because you see, if I'm separating life and death, then there's division and it's partial. There's a mind that is alive, and then at some point the mind will go, will maybe disappear. But if you kind of see that the eternity means death within life, or life within death.
Yes.
Then you have a beautiful mind.
Yeah.
So, can we try and see if we can have a beautiful mind today?
Okay.
Let's try and explore that. So you said something about the spirit. I was talking to the pastor last time. He was explaining to me. I asked him who was he, and then he said that he's three-dimensional.
Okay.
There's the man, then there's the spirit.
The Holy Trinity, basically. Is it
I guess that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's like there's him, and then there's the apostle him.
Okay.
I wonder what it meant by that. He's going to come back here. I have a lot of questions coming from him.
Okay.
But when you say the spirit, what do you mean by the spirit?
Can I explain it in my definition?
Yeah, in your definition.
So the things that I've been experiencing, spirit, I think spirit sort of communicates with certain things. I've heard things in the wind, not necessarily like voices, like, oh, this is what's going on today, you are going to, do a part. No. Voices sort of answers, or just this sort of spiritual interaction, not just with people, but with everything else as well. Sometimes, I remember when I'm in danger or something, I'll hear someone call me. I don't know, it's between my grandmother or my dad or my mom. But like, there is something that is gnawing at me inside. I don't know if it's a spirit. I don't know if it's around me, if it's on top of me, if it's within me. I know it's not my body working, definitely, because I go to the gym and I'm like, yeah, the spirit is going to help me. And then by that time, I'm like dead on the floor. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. But with the spirit, it doesn't stop reconnecting. It doesn't stop connecting. It doesn't stop interacting. When it does, go quiet, maybe it's when I am, when I'm practicing what I need to do in my journey, in that spiritual message that I got. I'm not like a sangoma or a prophet or anything. No. I believe that God or the spirit or the things that are around me, the trees, the wind, the air, the way the sun connects with you, even the moon, I charge my energy with the moon. There's this very severe connection almost that you can feel. I don't know if it's in my head. Maybe people think I'm crazy, but there always is something that happens to me and within me. There's an awakening that happens. I can hear a bit more to what the world is saying, what people are even saying or trying to say. Yes, there is a blockage here or there sometimes where I become completely human, But when it does gnaw at me, when the spirit does say, listen, like things like reverting back to the things that, that I used to do when I was ill, Sometimes it can happen, it's like when you have diabetes and, you've had it for a long time and you've taken your pills and, but then, or let's say cancer rather, you have cancer and you get cured. That's what happened to my dad. He got cured. He went through chemo and for 11 years it was in remission, right? However, after that 11 years, it came right back and it came back like powerfully. So yes, I do revert back to, sort of like this humanistic role and, engaging in things we define as ugly. However, when spirit starts is it gnawing at me, it speaks. And it's very loud.
What's the contact between what you're calling the spirit and you? How do you?
It's me. It's like me. It's me in me. It's me next to me. It's me in front of me.
Yeah.
It's me in me. So it's like dangerous routes or when you're walking, for instance, and your mind there was a time I remember I stopped for a moment, and I couldn't tell which route to take because I'm like, oh, I always take this route, but this one might be different, but what if it's dangerous because I'm so used to this one? If you listen to that spirit, sometimes she'll come in front of me or behind me or whatever, and like, I don't know, I'll see maybe like a bird passing somewhere, which could mean a meaning or whatever. Sort of this thing that's pushing you and giving you the answer and guiding you and saying, trust your guts. Where do you want to go? This is the road you should take. Anything could happen on either road, on either whatever it is, you know. You don't know what is waiting for you on the other side. But if you trust your guts enough to follow the path that you've heard for yourself, you know, even if you come into contact with danger or whatever, the absence of fear kind of, because I'm there with my spirit, it told me to go here, I'm here.
Okay, so, I get it.
Okay.
So we're going to find these spirits today.
Okay. Okay.
So, let's say intuition.
Intuition, yes.
Intuition. Let's see how intuition comes about.
Okay.
Can you be intuitive about something? Okay, give me an example of an intuition, for instance.
On my part?
Yeah,
or
no,
just in
like
general?
right now, as in general, it's 7.
When you're intuitive?
Yeah.
Like in this space, or can I just make any example?
No, even in this space, let me maybe help you.
Okay.
Let's have an intuition that, you know, Callum will come. Callum is he works with Brennan.
Okay.
Let's have an intuition that no, Callum is about to come, you know, and then somehow Callum comes.
Actually comes, yeah.
How did that happen? Could I have thought about that without, you know, the
spiritual idea?
the accumulated information I have about Callum? There's a certain Callum.
Okay.
There's coming. Okay. There's a man coming, you know, the whole process, the whole action of coming and all that. I can have an intuition about something that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
So even danger, for instance.
Yeah.
I'm walking and then I feel something that's about to happen here.
Yeah.
Which means what? I'm recalling danger.
Okay.
I've been in a position of danger before, right?
Yes.
And then I just feel like somehow my brain calculates all these things and just tells me like this is not something to do.
Yeah.
And how does it do that? Isn't it through the thought process?
My thought process is not always the strongest, I think.
What is the strongest? What's stronger?
Between your mind and your heart, or like what do you
no,
mean?
well,
The definition?
Let's say your mind and your heart. What do you mean by your mind and your heart? What's the division between mind and heart?
There shouldn't be any division. There should definitely be a correlation. But I think I just mistrust my mind because it concocts so much from, like you say, experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't, you know, necessarily discern what my mind is actually saying. But the moment intuition comes in, which is, I believe, is connected to the mind, but sometimes I don't know. I've found it difficult to rely on my mind because of the concoctions it makes, because of the anxieties and things that I've had.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's a good decision actually. Sometimes the mind can be really stupid. Yeah. Especially when blinded by, you know, like trauma and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, you say you find it difficult to rely on your mind, to trust your mind.
Yeah.
Who finds it difficult to rely on the mind? Hear what you say. You say, I find it difficult to rely on my mind. So there's a me, and then there's the mind.
Yeah.
Who is that?
So I'm
me?
separating
Yeah,
it.
separating
when it should be one.
It should be one.
So I find it difficult to rely on myself.
That's the partial mind I'm talking about. That's how we are by nature. I'm not putting you under the carpet. All of us are that way. Yeah. And it's embedded in our language. It's embedded in our culture and everything that we do.
Yeah.
Partial things.
Yes.
Division.
Yes.
You know, chair. space, time, yesterday, tomorrow.
Yes.
That's the partial mind, the mind that operates on that plane of denying itself,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. And why does it do that?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But let's look at that. You find it difficult to rely on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So the entity that is careful of the mind
Mm-hmm.
is the past. Because you've deceived yourself before, right?
Yeah. Through experience.
Through experience.
Many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
The past is telling you, no,
Yeah.
I don't want repetition.
Yes.
Without realizing actually that you are repeating the same thing, because you cannot recall something if you're not repeating it.
Absolutely.
So the past is always the background, is the guide. The past guides us in our decisions. Although we say, I don't want to do that, but actually it's the past that is telling you that that mustn't be repeated.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes.
So it seems like the driver of our being is the past.
Yes.
There's always a comparison between, what has happened and what... Actually, we don't even know what will happen.
Yeah.
We have an idea, we project what will happen according to
The past.
the past.
Yeah.
So that's how, it seems like that's how the mind works. Otherwise, there's no movement.
Yeah.
Because, you see, for you to even analyze,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're analyzing your fear or your anxiety, you have to separate yourself from the anxiety because it hurts too much. So you have to say, I'm in charge, I'm going to do something about this anxiety.
Yeah.
Therefore, you introduce that division.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happens? That we seem to always be detaching ourselves from ourselves in the mind itself.
I think we don't want to relate to our shadows. The dark sides, the undesirable sides. I think we want to, humanly so, we always want to separate ourselves from ourselves in that bad way. Like the whole analogy of made in the image of God. People need to sort of make God a man, a person, in a pearly gate, and in order to relate to him. And if you cannot relate to yourself, if you cannot believe that, like I know I have my bad things, excuse me.
Yeah.
Apologies.
That's all right. Yeah.
I know I have my bad things, and
what makes you think they're bad? What do you mean by a bad thing? Okay, we don't have it.
Let me say I have a shadow self.
Yeah.
Right. I used to say to people, God is one person. It's just a person looking at themselves, and they kind of just like looking at, oh, okay, so this is what I can be when I'm all powerful, and this is what I can be when I'm all powerful. The two kinds. Yes, it is separation, but it's sort of like I said to you that it's sort of this mirroring. So I think people don't want to relate to their shadow selves. People don't want to relate to the fact that, listen, it is possible for me to be human through making error, because society and everyone, in fact, believes that mistakes or bad things are a definition of how much you're going to burn in hell, and and that's
that
not
one used to scare me.
exactly, and that's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not. In that case, then we're all going to burn because we all don't know what we've done or haven't done, So I think there's this deep sort of misunderstanding of your shadow, because you need your shadow.
You are that.
You are, you are your shadow.
You are your shadow.
Because then how else are you going to grow and understand and be your light at the same time as well? They need to work together. It's one thing. It can't be separate.
Yeah.
If it is separate, then it's going to be very detrimental to you. Constantly believing someone is good and then they do good usually ends up, in resentment, or, someone who believes they're constantly bad and will never be good, obviously is going to stay in that state. They won't believe that, hey, I actually am a good person. It's just that, there are certain things that the world has given us knowledge of that has now, you know, taken over our minds and the way that we think, act, and do, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the misunderstanding, bad is not like bad, you know, bad child, bad thing. Bad is shadow. Bad is there is another side. There is, for every dark there's light. There are 4 seasons: rain, sunshine. Those things all work all together. The elements work together.
Yeah.
For photosynthesis, for instance, sun, moon, sun, earth, all of these things. But people are so desperately trying to separate themselves from their shadow that they do the things that the shadow is trying to teach them kind of not to do. Just like, I'm teaching you, okay, that this is me, this is how I am, but you can't run from me because that's exactly what you're going to do then, you know. So it's a complete rejection of soul, of self.
It's complete rejection of, it's a complete denial of oneself.
Yes.
You know, as I was coming on Instagram, I saw a video, it's a show where I think people, some guy leaves a mic on a bridge, and then he's like, you know, like a mile away filming. Okay. So that you have the privacy, I guess, you can talk and you don't feel listened to or judged.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people talk, a lot of people, you'll be surprised how many people are going through, you know, depression and suffering and all that. But there's this kid, I think he's about 9 years, came and took the mic and then started talking. He's like, you know, I'm starting to like reading because I discovered that actually, you know, by reading, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the world too. Yeah. So far, I've read 3 books. You know? He was very proud of himself. And you know, I like all those books talk about the human biology. He's very interested into the human body. Yeah. So he's discovered that there are bad germs and good germs. Yes. You know, he never thought that actually there could be bad germs in himself. You know? Yeah. And they're also important. Yes. So he was very mind blown by that. Yeah. He discovered that, you know, the inner ear helps you stand. And then he's like, by the time I'm old, I think I will read 500 books. You know? So I can know about
find
the
out
human
more gems.
body. And then he finished with a very beautiful sentence. He said, because what's the point of living without knowing yourself? You know? So that must have come from very far. So he really wants to know who he is and so on. Yeah. I think that's what we're trying to do here, to really learn our own being. Yeah. The body seems to be fine. We've gotten very far with that. But I feel like there's a gap in when it comes to the mind. Yeah. And few people have gone into this, I guess, philosopher, religious people, psychologists, but I always feel like the mind is so cunning. It has found a way to always leave, you know, a huge gap, like a dark spot on it. Yeah. I think that's what we're trying to find. And I think that's where most people are caught so far, that division, this thing that I can look at myself. Yeah. Almost as if there's a separate, because I mean, you can't look at yourself if you don't separate yourself. Right? Yeah. So the shadow, when you're looking at the shadow, right, you're looking at it, running away maybe from it, it's still the shadow that is doing that, that separation. It can't stand itself, so, right? Yeah. So it creates an alter ego, I guess, that is somehow better because it's not that, so it looks at itself. Yeah. I think that's what maybe people do unconsciously to run away from their problems. Yeah. But I think it's the wrong approach. Absolutely. You should, and it's ugly. It's not beautiful.
Yeah. It's just an ugly approach.
Because it's partial. It's not complete. You're supposed to be full. So then, who are we? Who really, what, if someone asks you, who are you, then how would you be able to reply without that division?
I wouldn't be able to be honest with you.
You wouldn't be able to?
The only quote I can think of is, I am who I am. And I mean, that's what God said. So, you know,
Still, that's again, you know, a memory coming.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Is that
so you wouldn't be able to reply. You're somehow stuck.
Currently, you're stuck.
No, not currently. Don't, because that's what's happening now. don't think you would do it any differently. Don't separate yourself again from, there's a me in the future who would know how to respond to that. See, that's you again.
Separating.
Separating.
Okay.
So the real you doesn't know herself.
Yeah.
She can't know herself.
Yeah.
She can't answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you stay with that fact of not knowing?
Honestly, no.
Why?
I've been struggling to. I think that is what I've been struggling with the most. I think the inability to let go of control, because it's been instilled in us so much that the fear of letting go, I can't imagine it. I can't. I can't imagine not being in control. I feel like it's I don't like being controlled, but I like trying to be in control.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'd love to let go. And I think I've been telling you this on your page like a lot. Just like, I want to have the is it the red pill that Neo took? I want I want to be out of this matrix.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I tell you the truth now, I don't think I'll be able to.
No, that's good. Because you see, the way I approach this whole thing is, I like to approach it like less rationally, of course, but then actually like really see things exactly as they are.
Yeah.
For instance, you say, I can't, I feel like I have to control.
Yeah.
You pursue that. You're learning from yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't say, I think in the future, that's you.
I'm hoping in the future.
No, you can't, right?
Yeah.
So that's just who you are. You are a control freak. So am I. So is everyone else.
Yeah.
Now, there's a friend of mine, I'm going to shout her name, but she was saying, I was talking to her yesterday, she's like, okay, then if we are all one, if the mind is one, and the mind controls everything, the mind can shape everything, then why can't I shape myself into maybe not having periods anymore?
Yeah, actually.
Because I hate this shit, it hurts, it's used, not used, but I mean, it's painful and all that.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I control that? So I said I was gonna, because I never really have a direction, but that's something I was gonna squeeze in, but I think it falls under this, the control thing. So the mind wants control.
Yes.
The very first contact you have, the very realization of yourself, when you know yourself, is when you're trying to control something.
Yes.
Either predict or run away from a bad memory or hope, to follow a certain kind of pleasure or to avoid a certain kind of pain. That's how you know yourself.
Yeah.
By attempting to control.
Yeah.
So let's look at this thing of controlling. Who is this entity that is trying to control himself? Can we say the first point of reference we have is thoughts, right?
Okay.
When I can only control by thinking about something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, maybe the car that I'm about to buy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's very good, is it a good idea or not?
Yeah.
So I've acquired a certain kind of thing in my mind. That's what makes me me.
Yes.
Without the accumulation of all those scenes and projections and memories.
Yes.
What proof do I have of myself? What is there without all that?
I have no idea. I'm very stuck. I'm speechless.
Yeah, no, good. No, stay stuck. See how there's this attempt to bring something.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to come up with something.
Yeah.
And
that's a part of control, isn't it?
That's the control.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of drive to come up with something.
Yeah.
Think of something.
Yeah.
Why? Why why is it uncomfortable to be there?
Because I'm hardly ever there. It's, you know.
Well, first, you can't be there.
Yeah.
Because you are only there when you come up with something.
Yeah.
When you remember something.
Yeah.
When you acquire whatever.
Yeah.
For instance, you can try this at home.
Okay.
Close your eyes for a couple of minutes, or not even close, even just opening your eyes, and try to be, in touch with that sort of place that, you don't know whether you're there or not. You're trying to get it and see how that goes. But from experience, and it's a wrong word using experience, because now we're talking about a place that knows no experience, right? That's the closest thing. To me, that's what I call death.
Yeah.
As you're living.
Yeah.
It seems like most of the time people don't want to be there. Therefore, we create something out of it, by remembering, by thinking about something.
Okay.
Because there you are not.
Yeah.
You are dead.
Yeah.
But isn't it the only place, quote place, that is full? Because the very second you think, not only you are dividing yourself from that, because now there is a thing, that isn't that, but also, what can you ever think of anything full? You're always thinking of partial things, isn't it? Like maybe moments after moment. Let's say, think of something, for instance, right now.
Water. Yes.
See, you are thinking of a certain moment, a certain action that you've experienced before, right? So that on its own is, there's water here, but there's an ocean.
Yeah.
So it seems like the control part is, could we say that the control part is not being able to stand the immensity of
letting go?
Yeah, of not being. Because letting go, when you let go of something, isn't it that you die to that thing? How do you let go of anything at all?
Yeah, to die, like you say. So what I'm trying to understand, right? That notion of okay, so you're saying that, let me say this, like my fear is sort of just being without that control, right? I don't know how to be the opposite of being and also not being in control of that being. I don't know how to just be, and accept, and not see things in, like you said, like snippets, sort of screenshots or whatever, but make it in a whole, it's a whole thing, maybe that's the part that I'm lacking, the wholeness, within myself that I'm trying to find. But I can't necessarily, I'm not even able to sit with that because the control is so powerful. Like you say, it's maybe we're immensely afraid of the expansion beyond that. Maybe we're trying to control because at least I know what's going on now. At least I know what I'm doing. Because the unknown, as interesting and as unique it is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. Yeah. And I've always been afraid of the unknown. Yeah. I grew up being taught to control things, fix things.
All of us.
Everybody. So the ability to actually just be like, well, it is what it is something so foreign to me that it's made me sick even physically. And I can feel that my body, like I said, I was on autopilot for such a long time, and now that it's coming back into me, but I'm not feeling that full wholeness. Yes, I can feel myself coming back, but I'm unable to feel that wholeness because that control is just so, it's powerful and it's sitting, it's there, it's next to me, and
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
that's the funny thing. Well, funny or ugly.
And why is it not going anywhere? I would like it to go away.
Yeah. No, it's not going on because that's what man is.
Okay.
When you get over that, I don't see yourself as being called man. The way I look at it, I could be wrong. I think man is limited to this idea of control.
Yeah.
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 So I think the best thing, and it works out actually very good, because it's not that you go to the unknown. It's more like you see the limitation of the known. You see the ugliness of yourself, like how you are always trying to constantly control. Don't try not to control, because that is control.
Yeah.
Trying not to control is a very clever way for the mind to keep on controlling. Yeah. So realizing that, right? That's how you see it right now.
Yeah.
That's what you are. Any movement, right? Left or right is the same movement.
Okay.
Where do you move now? Let's say we're in this room, right? You've been bumping, these walls for 100,000 years.
Okay.
Maybe 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
Finally, you discover that there's no going out of this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
You finally,
Let me trust.
yeah, clearly you really realize it's not a theory.
Yes.
You've done it for 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
You've broken the ribs, everything, the wrist, everything. Now you realize, wow, there's no going out of this. What do? You have to sit down.
You just you just let it.
You have to sit down.
I don't want to say give up. You just let it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no the only intelligent action after that realization. In fact, the realization of that tells you exactly what needs to happen. You sit down, then you're less. You're not fighting anymore. So it works the same way in your mind. Seeing that really there's no way out of the control movement that you always have.
Yeah.
Seeing it clearly, not try to
separate
yourself and say, I will get there. Actually seeing it. Now when you see that, then you wake up. It's kind of like now you really wake up. You see yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
The very seeing of the limitation has removed the limitation. And you knowing yourself, of course, you'll come and start labeling it and say, I've reached there and so on and so on. But saying that, you've abandoned it.
Yeah.
So it's a place where man can't be.
Yeah.
It's a place where you can't be. And, that's why I'm calling it beauty, because everything, you yourself even, the idea of me comes from that. You have proof of yourself only after quitting that thing.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah.
I do.
Now, how do you live life now with that understanding? Living life as a prisoner, I guess. Isn't it how society is?
Yeah.
Don't you think that we're kind of prisoners of some ways of living?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways of living.
Yeah.
I mean, already, there's a song, Daniel Caesar says, now I'm a product that must turn a profit. I'm something to prove. I'm a god, I'm a prophet, So absolutely, we are definitely slaves to what's going on around us, because we are constantly proving that we are some kind of prophet, even though we are saying that we are made in his image and we don't need anything. We are sustained, we are, but here we are going to work every day at 5 o'clock in the morning. And, your boss is telling you this and that and that, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you want that Ferrari, you want this thing, you want, we were speaking about desire the other time. There are things that we desire, So
you see, that's what we have here is because the very divorce from that is the creation of partial things, of control, of limitations.
Yeah.
Then obviously what we have here has to represent that.
Yeah.
Because, it starts from you know, for instance, this camera can't be done if you haven't thought about it. You have to use the
Yes.
limits, you break it, you
Yes.
create a better one, and so on. So this is a mirror of the mind,
Yeah.
what you call me,
Yes.
I.
Yeah.
It is, don't separate yourself from this. You are looking at yourself. See, I've had a very big time with people want to say, this is me, right?
Yeah.
Because now, they say, well, what are you talking about, man? Me, I'm here. You.
Yeah.
I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from that perspective already. I don't see it as I am a different human being. What do you mean by different human being?
Yeah.
What makes you different? If it isn't for that idea of yours
Yeah.
that you are different,
Yeah.
you know? If it isn't for the knowledge that you've acquired,
Yeah.
you know, that is me, and then there's that person and all that.
Yes.
But we're talking, now we went to a much lower layer of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I find a lot of people don't even want to go there because, first of all, you know what you'll meet there?
Yeah.
It's death.
Yeah.
So people don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And it goes against everything there is here. It's almost as if deciding to die to everything there is,
Yeah.
including yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything not only bad with that, but also as long as there's not that sort of balance between that and this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we will always have what we have here.
Yeah.
And this is not going anywhere.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eternity.
Mm.
But then within that eternity, does that mean, because history does keep repeating itself,
Yeah,
just
it's normal.
differently.
Yeah.
So is that what the experience is then? The whole experience, just history constantly repeating itself, or are we actually going to reach this, you know, utopian type of understanding? Probably not.
No, let's not assume.
Okay.
We could or we could not.
Okay, we could or we could not. Yeah. But my problem is, can we reach utopia without the balance
No, it's
of the
impossible.
other things? Yes,
It's impossible.
You see. Yeah.
And I think there's some civilization. I was watching some video on YouTube last time. There's some civilization. What they do is, before the artists, they wouldn't paint on like canvas and all that, like hard stuff.
Yeah.
They would go sit by the beach.
Okay.
You know, sit down and, you know, I guess meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Probably they were trying to do that,
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thought out of that is what they would now draw.
They draw, yeah.
And they would draw it on the sand, where the next wave will automatically
Wash it
come
off,
and wash it
yes.
off.
Yeah.
So they were up to something probably
Yeah.
already. So I don't think, see, everything becomes rigid. Now it seems like we've given so much importance to knowledge, to my experiences, to all that. So of course, with this rigidity, there can't be a balance. It's something that is balanced, something that doesn't break is something that is flexible. You know, it's
Yeah.
supposed to move like new ideas and
Yeah.
understand them, accept them. So now, because we are so rigid, we have extremes. We have people that want to conserve the cultures and their ways of thinking. And then we have other extremes of people that rebelling that. Now they want to create, almost as if you erase everything and start from scratch.
Yeah.
Change the ways of living, the language, the science, the math. But I think it's pointless. I mean, why erase everything that we've worked so far for, only to repeat and again get to a point where we have to erase everything, you know?
Again, yeah.
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 So I don't see any balance without that.
Yeah.
On a larger scale, but also even on your personal level.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that balance, then you're always breaking. You know,
Yeah.
you're always clashing with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You're always forming. I was talking to someone I know as well. She's going through a bad period with some friends of hers. And when I listen to her talking, literally, it's just people that, you know, we're still stuck in that thing of forming groups.
Yeah.
My friends and your friends.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to take as many friends away from
From
you.
you as yeah. Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, you find some others that, you know, maybe because of your way of living, your qualities and all that, you end up being banished. I guess you are alone against us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know,
Yeah.
someone who's going through that, that must be really awful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So when I'm talking to that person, I'm always, I don't know exactly how to advise. The best thing you can do generally is to listen. But I know that's where she has to go.
Yeah.
if she doesn't go there,
Yeah.
then, you know, all these things will happen and so on.
Yeah. Keep repeating themselves and yeah.
So how do you, let's say you do that, right? You have that kind of, let me call it full mind, in the sense that you're constantly dying and coming back to life. Not theoretically, but actually, you know, you do it in your daily life.
Yeah.
And then, as we were saying, you could have some experiences, some things that you don't quite understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I advise you not to understand them. You will lose your mind over it. It's so complicated. It's not for men. Now, if you have that mind, how do you approach this whole life? How do you maybe convey it to someone else? What would be your approach?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I really don't.
That's good. At
I
least
haven't even thought that far.
No, that's good. Now
Yeah.
I think you're doing it well.
Yeah.
You're starting to see maybe the uselessness of projecting,
Yeah.
imagining things.
Yeah.
See, for example, for me, right, I find it very hard to imagine, you know, like project things. I only do it because, you know, we have to live, right? We have to be a bit practical, so we have
Okay.
to plan for work and all that.
Yes.
But to sit down and start imagining how beautiful, how bad things are gonna turn out,
Yes.
it's so foreign, right?
Yeah.
That it hurts my brain, you know. Automatically, you see, that's what I'm saying. Once there's that contact with, I guess, the void or the whole,
Mm-hmm.
then it starts dictating how you also operate. Now it has an imprint on what you call you,
Yes.
thoughts.
Yeah.
So thoughts somehow always end up being kind of cooled down,
Yeah.
you know, not wasting so much energy using that.
Yeah.
So you are most of the time acting from that, really.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's really, really beautiful if you see it in operation in your daily life. So I think for me, what I've discovered, right, I guess that's why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
right? I don't quite know how I would approach this, but it's to be with someone and kind of work together.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't take you there.
Yeah.
Only you can take yourself there. So what I'm trying to do is to kill you every other second. Not physically, I think we have many years above, but
Yeah.
it's to give you maybe the strength, the courage to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to, like a phoenix. I want to be like a phoenix and just reinvent myself, you know. But I'm struggling to set myself on fire.
Yeah, then you look at that. You stay with that. What's wrong with that? You're struggling.
It's the staying. That is
Yeah. Oh, so you don't want to even look at the staying.
No, I do.
Yeah.
I just don't know. You know, I think my mind, you know, my chakras or whatever you want to, sometimes they just do this.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course I want to explore that part, but like, you know, where do you even begin? You know, yes, I understand that. Sit with it. Okay, I can sit with it. I can sit with the fact that I have fear in progressing or changing or whatever it is. I can sit with it. But I can sit with it for a long time. There was a time you asked me to sit with, because I had said that, you know, I was nervous to come here. You know, I'm camera shy and, you know, and I sat with it and I sat and I sat and I sat.
When
and I I just kept watching videos and I'm like, what am I looking for?
Okay.
You know?
Okay, when you were sitting with it, what is that? How do you do that? How do
I
you
sit
sit
in the
with
middle.
anything?
So I sat in the middle of my living room actually, and I read it.
Yeah.
And then I sat, and I thought maybe, I don't know, some kind of thoughts would come in. Then I read it again, and I sat, and I'm like, okay, what are you trying to say? What is he trying to say? Am I getting there? Am I not getting there? Am I getting it even? And then I sat with it, and so I know about this fear and the fear of the other side or the fear of letting go. I'm very aware of it. You know, I just don't know why it consumes me as much, because even the moment when, you know, I was reading and I was trying to sit with it, that fear and control consumed me immediately. It was like, well, what are you doing? You don't even know if this person is real, you know. It's like, put your phone away, you know, things like that. It's like being able to sit with yourself.
Yeah.
and actually, yes, I did explain that I hear myself sometimes, but actually, like sitting shadow full on with me, with
No,
both
it's
the
a
light.
very serious job.
It's a very it's. I mean, the amount of expansion that could happen there is scary. It is quite frightening. But it's something also that I do look forward to and that I want to experience and feel. But because I've got this thing of no, just go back, just go back to church, pray, do something. I don't know.
No,
Fix
and
yourself,
you do that.
you know?
When that comes to you, you do that. Go ahead. You go there, first thing you'll be bored.
Yeah.
After 2 sessions, 3 sessions, when you go to a church,
Yeah.
you know, the beauty of the church, you enjoy it and all that. And then maybe you hit 2, 3 things that don't really resonate with you.
Yeah. I don't relate to church, just by the way. I don't relate as much to church. So that was just like for an example. You know, just like maybe, you know, boss is not saying the right thing. Maybe you should just actually listen to what the pastor is saying instead of him. You know, like that kind of conflict comes to me.
That's sitting.
Okay.
That's it. There's no other sitting.
Yeah.
It's seeing what's happening. And it's not something you do. You don't become the monks. Don't go hide somewhere to meditate and come with some mantras. That's the control still. It's just in your daily life. Okay, if you do that, you say, okay, I'm going to find out. And then there's that whole doubting, right? Okay, this man, okay, first of all, what is he saying? Yeah. So you trying to understand what this man is saying is because you can't stand the fact that you don't know, you don't understand. Yeah. It's uncomfortable. You're pursuing something right now. What are you pursuing? You're pursuing some quote-unquote other side. What is that another side? How do you know of any other side? If it isn't maybe hearing some guy telling you about it, if it is some church telling you about it. Yeah. So you're learning about yourself, isn't it? How you've gathered all of these things. So then you ask yourself, is that what I am? Yeah. All these things, just what I've heard, what I've seen, that's it? That's what I am?
Or am I beyond?
Am I beyond? Yeah. Okay, now who is this entity that is saying that is beyond?
I don't know. Have you ever felt this, or rather, I always feel this feeling of yearning for a sense of freedom. And the sense of freedom, like heart, mind, soul, body, you know, letting go.
There is freedom.
And that yearning is there.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to relate to the freedom that I am trying to acquire.
Now, you see, what keeps you binded? What is it that keeps you binded? If it isn't for the things that you have, that you know. Yeah. If it isn't for this man here talking, although he's saying some things that may sound, you know, isn't this that's actually keeping you binded? You know, the knowledge of it. Yeah. The acquired knowledge of it, and then you have all these things. So it's almost as if, basically, it's the simplest task ever. Just see, listen, hear yourself. And then the very seeing of yourself, you don't have to see it 1,000 times. Yeah. If you have already done it once, right? Yeah. The mind already has seen itself for what it is. Yeah. Then, you know, it will just try to control, because I mean, you've been controlling for 30 years, 29. Yeah. You can't just all of a sudden decide get rid of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like having 5 kids and then all of a sudden you say, get out of my house. It's hard.
I don't want to,
So it's maybe looking at the kids, understanding that, okay, they're growing up, you know, they're their own people. They will also eventually leave the house, you know. So it's really a kind of gradual understanding. Yeah. And seeing who you are once, you don't need to repeat it. Although you will repeat it, but that's it. You've seen it all. It's almost as if now just, I don't like using things like waiting for the grace. Okay. Because it sounds a bit religious. Yeah. But now you're just waiting for, you know, you just want to see it actually in a day-to-day life. Yes. What is freedom?
Yeah. And experience it. And
experience it.
Be full, like you said, you know, the fullness of it, and not reject myself from myself, from the entity that is me.
That is the key. Yeah. Seeing that there's the only proof you have of yourself is when you're dividing yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't know yourself. Yeah. And actually seeing that is the real you when you don't know.
You don't have to know everything, you
Yeah.
know. And I just kept telling myself that, no, you do have to know everything. I didn't know there was a different kind of notion that, listen, you really don't have to know.
Yeah.
And maybe that is what the journey is.
Isn't that freedom when you don't have to do
To know,
anything?
yeah.
You know,
Have to do anything, have
yeah.
to, you know, have to sort of acquire things to know and to have that knowledge to, yeah, no, definitely.
So there's a clear cut. It could be there's we need knowledge in our day-to-day life to operate, to do all that.
Yes.
But knowledge has its limits. Why do you have to drag it all the time in your brain and your mind? And, you know, because it doesn't, first of all, there's no analysis that is full. Any conclusion is the introduction to the next conclusion. Let's say you analyze yourself, then you say, oh, this is what I am.
Yeah.
That same conclusion will be the introduction to another analysis. So analysis is always partial.
Yes.
When you stop analyzing, then, you know, you've got a whole thing.
Yeah. Becomes whole, together.
So it's very tricky, and it's not theoretical. It's something that you really see happening in yourself. And, you know, I think that's why people maybe, they see the theory of it.
Yes.
They don't want to see it and be uncomfortable with, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm very guilty of that. I saw the theory of it, but once I sat down and you like analyze it, I'm like, what is he even saying? Literally, that's what I thought. I was like, why? You know, so I'm definitely correct about that. I never, I really didn't look at it in a way of not having to know. You know how they're always telling us knowledge is power, but they don't tell you that not knowing is also powerful in its own sense and in its own way.
Yeah.
You know, because then I think you're more explorative in that sense.
Yeah. All knowledge comes from ignorance.
Yeah.
A man who's not ignorant, I mean, what if you're full of knowledge, what can you learn?
Yeah.
You know, you start from some sort of not knowing, right? You have space to acquire anything.
Yeah.
So when you have that mind that doesn't, you know, carry too much burden, then there's always free space. There's unlimited space to acquire new things and adapt, and not say now people must behave this way forever. No, it's an adaptation. If people need to change, then you change. So it's a very real thing. It's really a way of living.
Yeah.
Now that's I guess the rational part of it.
Yeah.
I guess we can call it freedom. We can call it beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it's full. It allows a life with not too much constraints.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
You won't judge.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you don't know anything, how can you judge someone?
Yeah.
Really?
True. True.
If something bad happened to you, you see it for what it is. Also, one thing I wanted to say. Yeah, I think I asked the question to Brennan last time.
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather have something bad happen or nothing happen at all?
And I don't know what's going to happen after.
What do you mean? Okay, there are two choices. Right?
Okay, so those are so these two choices do not have a, let's say, a consequence after. So they're both questions. So if you're asking, would you rather nothing happen to you at all or something bad happen to you?
Yeah.
Right?
And
so
when you understand that nothing happened, it means you are not even there for something to happen.
Okay.
You see? And then there's something bad happening, which means at least you are there to experience what you call bad.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I choose both.
No, you can't choose both.
I can't choose both.
Yeah.
What I've learned about bad, the thing is it's bad. It's contributed to so much of my interest in expanding my knowledge and trying to find out the things of the world and beyond. And that's why I would pick bad in that sense. To have nothing at all happen to me.
No, you see, when I said nothing happened to you, there's no you for something to happen.
Oh, you mean just nothing happening at all?
Yeah, there's nothing
okay, then,
at all.
The first answer, bad. Bad.
So I guess that the answer, that's why this whole thing is here. Because the alternative of that,
Yeah.
I mean, the alternative of this is something that you cannot be aware of.
Yeah.
It's the entirety of things. So we need to chop it up, you know,
Yeah.
time and
Yes.
space and good and
Yes.
bad, yeah. So here you have what you want, then don't complain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So see, I was saying this is the theoretical side. Now, when you're comfortable with it, you can see it actually.
Yes.
You know, see it as in actually. How
Yes,
can I put it?
tangible. It's,
Tangible,
yes.
See how the game of nothing and something
Mhm.
plays itself
Mhm.
in your day-to-day life, and
Mhm.
and that's beauty. That's what I call beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like yesterday I had a very, you know, I was sleeping, had a very interesting dream. So I'm walking back home.
Yeah.
I take the house train to go to work, and I use it to come back. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of walking after that. And generally I walk, sometimes there's like, I saw a cat that died. It's been there for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, this thing, the owner doesn't even look for it,
Yeah.
it's dead. But it seemed so, I guess, peaceful there.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to worry about it. It's
Yeah.
just, it
It's
is what it
unbothered.
is.
Yeah.
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 So then I was walking, and then I'm expecting to see the dead cat, but
Yeah.
I don't see it. I'm like, oh, this is odd. So the owner did actually find
The cat.
I'm like, wow, you know, that cat, you know, this place is actually full of a lot of animals, I'm sure.
Mm.
And then the more I started looking, I saw the rabbits, because, you know, they dig like tiny holes, they go hide.
Oh,
in it.
yes, yes, yes.
And I'm like, oh, where there's rabbits, there must be another predator.
Yeah.
Maybe a lion could be somewhere here. You know?
Yeah.
And then I look back, you know, there's like a hole there, like a big cat that just went back in. It's like a leopard. I'm like, hold on, now a leopard just got here sunning. I mean, how do we have leopard in Santon now?
Yeah, by the country. Yeah.
And then it's the eyes are really shiny, looking at me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared a little bit. So I start going straight to my house, and then right in front of me there's a lion. I'm like, hold on, what's going?
Wait, this is still in the dream, right?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you're alive.
I'm alive. So I'm like, okay, fine, let me come back, because I'd rather fight the leopard than this lion.
Mm.
You know, maybe I have a chance there. So I start walking, and I'm thinking, how come is this thing happening? There's no way this is real.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I'm saying, the investigation part.
Mm.
You know, the rationality of it, when you have that clear mind, you won't accept an illusion.
Absolutely.
Never, you will never accept it.
Absolutely.
So I start walking, I'm like, no, this way it must be something could be a dream. So you start exploring now. You know, how does a dream feel like walking this way? I mean, everything is real about it. So you touch the grass, you actually feel it. I'm like, oh my, it's real. Then I'm like, okay, fine. So all this is my projection. Let me see let me face death. That's you facing that, because generally you see when it's happening, there's some sort of danger that you have to
evade.
Yeah, you are running away from yourself so bad that you have to, you know, it's scary. So you have to go through death, I guess.
Yes.
So I'm walking to it, and then now it started getting scared of me, because it was coming to me. But now, since I have no fear of death, I'm going towards it.
Yeah.
And the closer I get to it, the more I'm looking at it, you know, my eyes now, you know, his eyes are shining. The more I look at it, the closer I get to it, the more I realize it's me. And then, you know, it's almost as if now I was looking, you know, I became the leopard, I was looking at me. So now I'm looking at myself exactly as I'm standing, you know. And, you know, I'm like, oh, what an amazing thing this is. So the whole idea of being a cat, it turns out it was actually a cat, not a leopard. The leopard was my own projection. The whole idea of being a cat and all that started happening, and so on. And there's another layer, which is now, okay, fine. If this is happening, then what is the next layer? Like where am I? If I'm here, you know, if this man is here, then where exactly am I? Am I alive at all? You know?
Yeah.
The very thought of that was me in the bedroom and waking up and, you know, coming here and so on. So the importance of this is when you learn to be with yourself, right? Face your fears, your illusions, your projections. You see yourself for who you are, even when you're lying to yourself, right? And then you can ask now the question, what is reality?
Yeah.
What is it to be alive? What is death? What is all these complex questions?
Sure. Your story sounds exactly, well, not exactly, but almost like, I don't know if you know the author Paulo Coelho. He wrote The Alchemist. He wrote The Alchemist, so I've been reading his book, The Pilgrimage, right now. He explains the exact same thing about your hands. So he's also on a spiritual journey to Compostela, and they're climbing up a mountain and things like that. And he explains about how, you know, good and bad doesn't exist. And in his prayer, he says, you know, help me fight with both hands, but don't let my bad hand affect me or affect my right hand. And so as he was doing that prayer and he was learning about, oh, okay, so God is essentially then, or just life or the universe, there's no actual bad. It's that you have these two, he says they are angels, or just even people passing. You could be, you know, my guide right now into the next phase that I'm going through, you know. So as he was explaining, you know, the part of the hands, he came across a demon. And his teacher was telling him about, you know, the differences between demons and angels, or good and bad. So there's nothing different about them. There are people who come each and every day, or your guides or whoever, who come and tell you messages, just like through the wind or through, you know, your dream. That could have been a message or a depiction of another parallel life that you are existing in, you know. So he said he came across a demon, and the first time he was afraid of this demon, and the demon was a dog. And this dog now could see that this guy's afraid. So what did he do? What does the dog do? Comes towards him, comes, you know. And then, so he didn't sort of get through to that part of the demon. So he was too afraid of the demon. And then, you know, his teacher, he came back to that. He was also sort of like living in a dream, sort of in a parallel, you know. But he came back. And then as they were walking up the mountain again of Compostela, I think he came across the dog again. So I might be mixing up the stories. Apologies if I do, Paulo Coelho. Amazing book though. But he comes across the dog again, and he stares the dog directly in its eye. The dog is growling, the dog is trying to get back at him, and he stood and he stared at it right in the eye. And the dog calmed down and it walked away. And so that's exactly the same thing, you know, that it sounds so similar to, you know, what he was explaining of how he, you know, also separated himself. But then when he realized that, hey, that dog is actually me. It's that other hand that I prayed for her, you know, please help me assist myself. Don't give me my right hand that's going to help me out. I need your help as well, you know. So he saw himself in that demon or dog or whatever. But once he faced the fear, once he looked directly into its eyes and didn't move, didn't falter, you know, it became a part of him. Not that he necessarily became a bad person or a demon, but he essentially knew who he was.
No, this thing is really, really beautiful. The way it is, the design of it, there's no mistake. It is well done, really, really well done to the to the dot. See, for instance, me, you know, after you go through these experiences, I think that's when you can really ask the right questions. You know, like you know, all these things that people call discoveries and all that. Because now you are part of the whole creation thing.
Yes.
You know, you are witnessing how it is being done through your own life, right?
Yeah.
So, personally, when I'm looking at you right now, I'm not looking at someone else.
Yes.
I'm not imagining that I'm you. I know that I'm you.
Yeah.
So I'm never, well, I can go to the mirror if I maybe combing my hair to all that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, my real mirror is this.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that when you become comfortable with being in that sort of, you know, zone, I guess.
Yeah.
Peaceful or void. If you do that in your day-to-day life, then now you can really see the separation ending.
Yeah.
In terms of, it goes very, very far. I think a lot of people do this for the benefits, maybe, because they want to be able to do some things and so on. But literally, there's no division, even in thinking itself.
Yeah.
The division of, I'm thinking of this, or like I can't be you, and so on and so on.
Yeah. I believe that,
Yeah.
I think...
so maybe that's why you call intuition.
Yeah.
See, for instance, the example I use of, let's say, Callum coming here, it isn't that, I predicted the future. It was just removing the division in people, space, thoughts, time, all of that.
Yeah.
And then you come back to your senses, the whole thing has already been created and so on.
Yeah.
Then you are free. You don't have to... I guess you can plan because of the sake of it, because you just want to be safe. You are you at the end of the day. But what is planning if you can see yourself planning in advance?
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So let's suppose, for instance, right now,
Yeah.
okay, the theory, but let's say you're dreaming, right? And you see this whole conversation happening and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Right? Now, let's say you wake up and say, oh yeah, that's a very interesting dream. I was actually there and so on. And this is, let's say you were clear enough, you saw how it was happening, minute after minute, the conversation, how it went and so on.
Yeah.
Would you do any planning?
No, because I've seen it.
Yeah. Would you worry about any?
Because I've seen it.
So you wouldn't worry about the taxi man being lost, the Uber driver?
Yeah, because I've seen it.
Because
so you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
No, that's freedom.
Yeah. And that's the kind of homeostasis, if that is a word, right? That is like a balance. It means balance or something, but like, no. Yeah, but I want to reach that balance, basically. Yeah. I want to, and that I was actually going to ask you then a question about, because I do believe we are all one. You are me. I am looking at myself, Even if I'm looking at Brennan and he looks very different to me.
It's the same.
We are the same people. How do then, and maybe that pulls part of the shadow, is that how do you, if you say that you see me and I see you, but we both have, maybe different ideas on something or different conflicting things, do you have then still the ability to relate and connect with me with that conflict? Because I believe that right now I'm going through a lot of conflict inside of me, and I know it has to do with the fact that yes, I do believe that we are all one, and I do believe that completely. But the conflict comes in with, well, if this person is doing this, or if I am doing this, right? Am I projecting or are they projecting? Does this also then entail that this is me as well? If someone does something adverse to me, for instance, and I don't appreciate it, like maybe disrespect me or something, right? Does that projection come from the both of us?
Well, first of all, there's never been both of you.
Okay, so it is so does that projection then come from one of me, of the person that I'm looking at? So, okay, so yes, okay, minimize both of us. Yeah. You are looking at me and I am looking at you, right? We are one. You are looking at yourself, and I say something disrespectful and you don't appreciate it, but you are looking at self. How do you then bring in that conflict or projection, bring it within to yourself, so that you can reach a place then of peace and of letting go and of being free and just being? Yeah.
Okay, let's try it, right? Let's see what that means, saying that I'm looking at me. Yeah. If you look at me right now, without... you have the idea of me, let's say I'm looking at you, right? Yeah. You have the idea of another because you have knowledge of yourself. Yes. So there's a clear understanding that there's a me who is looking at you. Yeah. So when we say I'm looking at you, in the sense that I am you, okay, let me rephrase it. We're getting lost because see, the problem of this is now, if our language itself is completely divisive. It's not whole. Yeah. Because there's no way of expressing yourself without kind of like separation. Yeah. Can I cut you there and go to the bathroom, please? Oh, no, please. Yeah, you can go ahead. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so where were we? I was trying to be you.
Yeah.
So.
Or you were you being me. Yeah.
Let's try again. So understand first what I mean by I'm looking at me.
Yeah.
See, I can only look at myself when I have given up on myself. When I am not there. I can only be you when I am not there. As long as I have an idea of me, then there's a clear separation of me who's looking at you.
Okay.
Right? So what I'm trying to say is to be someone, to look at your mirror, in this sense, is to actually be the person. So let's say you're having an argument with someone.
Yeah.
You're saying it's horrible.
Yeah.
Anything that you say will just go up, you know. Either you have to accept that you lost the argument, still it really hurts, right? Because you feel you lost. Or you have to escalate the conflict and all that. But try and look at the person or listen to the person entirely. Say, for instance, right now, if you look at me without labeling me, without all the memories and the knowledge you have about me, what are you really looking at? It's kind of like reading. Let's say you read what's written on the board here.
Yeah.
Another solid God. Try looking at it without labeling it. Because you see, when you do it, try it right now.
Yeah.
Do you notice that you're already reading it?
Yeah.
You know? Saying,
yeah. Another solid goal.
You are never actually looking at things.
Yeah.
So that's the problem we have. You never actually seeing things exactly as they are.
Yeah.
Our thoughts are always in the background, interfering. But you'll notice, and it's actually very fun if you do it, you'll notice if you do that, especially with words and all that, if you look at the words exactly as they are without reading them, or well, you will read them, but if you see how you're doing it, well, you do that alone. You do that alone when you're on your own. Very interesting. Actually, the thing itself is alive.
Okay.
You can actually see movement of the thing itself.
Like the words?
Yeah, the words themselves.
So is it like, you know when you say a word like a lot, like person, then it starts sounding incorrect in your mind. Yeah,
exactly.
Now you're seeing, is it even spelt?
Now you are really listening to the word for the first time.
Yes.
So most of us never actually discuss with people. We discuss with the images, with the knowledge we have of people. So those images are the clash, you know. The man who saw at me, the man who's, you know, arguing with me, the one who wants to take me down. But if you really listen to the person, then you become the person, including the thoughts, the insights, the secrets, the hiding, you know, what they're trying to do and all that. It's very fun.
That's very difficult. I mean, if
no, it's difficult because of course he's attacking you.
Yeah, let's take away, you know, even. Okay, so here's a scenario, for instance. You know, maybe there's a girl who. Actually, I've experienced this quite a bit. Like a lot of women will. I don't know, predict me in a specific way, maybe like wanting their man, or I look a specific way, therefore, because I look a specific way, I am luckier in this sense, therefore, they have a right to bully me or disrespect me because of that. I must sit and understand where they're coming from.
No, don't understand.
Okay, so then how do I then, right, listen, you know, open-mindedly? How do I open my ears? How do I open my mind and listen? Because you see, the attack is coming. Even if I haven't done, let's say I haven't done anything. You know, I walk into a room and these are the comments that I'm hearing, and you know, you have people purposely coming to be, you know, saying things that they shouldn't be saying and stuff like that. Now, you are saying that. And I'm not trying to separate it. I'm trying to make it as one as possible.
No. The language is limited.
Yeah, it's very limiting. So, and look, I'm the type of person who I like to take responsibility and accountability for if I've done something wrong to you, I've disrespected you or whatever. I want to know. I want you to tell me that this is how you've hurt me, whether it's intentional or not intentional. The responsibility is, and the accountability is, that I could have been in that very situation as well and could have needed that very thing. And that's what I understand then about oneness. Now, it's the difficulty for me comes when, see, I'm small. I've been bullied all my life, you know, but I know how to use my mouth, you know. And then the conflict comes, right, when I have taught myself to be able to, you know, shut certain things out. I can't, you know, I can't shut out everything, but there are certain things that I can shut out because I know that it has nothing to do with me personally. But in wanting to understand that I am one with you, yet there's this conflicting thing that I cannot relate to as one to you. How do I not become a demon in that sense? Because then I become, because then I completely lose it after that. Yeah,
well, first, if you become a demon or you become a demon, what's wrong with it? It's all right. What we're trying to say is we're trying to get away from the control. Any control is bad. Whether it's personal control or outward control. Because, I mean, remember the man the girl who's trying to belittle you because you look a certain way and all that, that's still control. They're trying to maintain themselves in a place where they're above you. So you're playing the same game. It's just that maybe you find yourself on the losing
on the other side.
Yeah, but you're playing the same game.
But then how do I then level with them because I don't want to play this game. I'm not in competition with anybody
so first
except
of all,
myself.
Wait, that's it. Listen. Do you ever listen to anyone? Or you listen through your own filters? Through the filters of... Okay, let me quickly tell him. I'll call him back. Yeah, sure. I removed it when you went to the bathroom. All right, so do you ever listen to someone? Or you always listen with your filters? In the sense that you know this person is, let's say a Chinese guy and comes and swears at you. You're really listening. Because you're not interpreting what it's saying. Right?
I don't understand him.
You don't understand him. He can swear at you all he wants, but I mean, it's to you,
I
it's
won't
nothing.
hear him,
So the same, that's really listening. Now what happens is we give too much importance in the interpretation. And then the interpretation triggers previous memories, which is, you know, people do this because I look this way and this way. So it builds up another anger there. The next response that you'll give, trust me, it'll be somewhere there. It'll be somewhere there. So you see, it's your past, your memories, and that's what's happening with her too, the other person who started the conflict. It's that, because they don't want to listen, they don't want to see things exactly as they are, so they're bringing up all this rubbish, and you're bringing the rubbish, and we have a bomb.
And that's what I want to come to, that how everybody, anybody and everybody has gone through some sort of experience, trauma, whatever it is. Everyone has, right? I want to come to a point, right? Because you say each person has come with their past, right? So their past experiences and things, and you know that's what we relate to. That's what we go back to and say, well, this is what happened the last time when I was, I don't know, 17, and it's happening again, and you're experiencing it again, right? And this same person also, this is what happened when I was 16, and now it's happening again, and this is the interpretation, and now we are clashing on interpretation. Now, like I said, I love to take accountability, responsibility, apologize, you know, whatever it is that needs, but how do we actually get to the point of connection where we understand that, listen, because yes, people are different, but they're the same. We're all one. But then how do we then come to common ground? How do we come to the common ground of knowing that I am you and you are me? And whether you've experienced the stuff that you've experienced and I've experienced the stuff that I experienced, we are here in the present right now together, and we are experiencing this very moment right now. How do I then interact and connect?
Yeah, be in the present. First of all, being in the present means not being there. It's listening to the other person, being the person, right? The interpretation comes afterward, and the build-up and all that. So why don't you play a different game? Instead of using all that 20 years of experience, clashing now, why don't you die to all of that as the argument is happening.
Yeah.
What are you looking at? What are you listening to, really, when you do that? Are you really fighting someone at that point? Or you're just listening, you're just looking at this person? Now, she might not take that because, you know, it's an argument. She is maybe to her she's winning because she's not saying anything anymore. But actually you are listening, you are very careful. And the brain is operating. It's not that you become dumb. It's that you're recording, but you are much more interested in what is happening now.
Yes.
Instead of the interpretation. And if you have that mind, first of all, you don't give too much importance to what she's saying.
Okay.
And when you record it, you interpret it, you look at it, you can even look at yourself, because there's looking at the person and there's also looking at yourself that will happen at some point, right?
Absolutely.
You see how you're boiling up, you know, you see that you're trying to control it and act cool, yet you are not cool. So you are seeing again yourself for who you are. So there's not only a fight with the person, but there's also a fight with
yourself. Yes, that's true.
So
that's so true.
The inside is just a reflection of what is going on.
Yeah.
So the listening of yourself, right, the looking at yourself, is the same as the looking and the listening at that person. So you're playing a completely different ball game as it's happening. And that has a beautiful effect even on the person who's arguing.
Yeah.
It's just that some people are really, you know, people hate losing, because you see, if you come and start arguing and I'm looking at you, I'm listening.
Yeah, they start thinking that, well,
yeah,
you are disrespecting me because you're not even saying anything to me. Then
yeah,
what?
yeah, well, I think, you see, when you act from there, as you said, you know, the first thing that comes from there is thought, right?
Yeah.
Which is thought, which is setting up your words, you know,
Yes.
which is language now. So the appropriate response will come naturally out of that.
Yeah.
Instead of you designing a response,
Okay.
which will end up now creating conflict.
Yeah.
And you might just be surprised if you do that. You see, when you get used to that, I don't know, I'm scared of saying that, you know, I sound a little bit delusional.
No, bring it out.
See, because there's no time, right?
Yeah.
See, when you're really someone, it means you are not there. You've died, kind of. You are the person. So when I'm putting it in the best way I can. When you get there, there's a certain clarity that happens sometimes, right?
Okay.
That you might just decide that I'm going to change this whole reality.
Yeah.
This whole thing, this whole argument.
Yes.
To a point where, you know, okay, let me wake up. And the entire thing has completely changed.
Yeah.
Now, you know, as I said, I'm very careful saying that. Sounds a little bit delusional, but you have to try. At least be rational here first. Do that. Listen. Listen to people. Look at them. Look at them as they are. Not because you judge a lot. You have no idea how much you've judged me already since we've been here. You're putting me in a box. It could be a lower box or a higher box. You know, you praise, you judge. All that is, you know, it's your rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But actually seeing what it is for what it is opens up the door to an entirely different way of living. Then you are not reacting, you are acting, as in the entirety of life has just started now, you know it.
And then when does then, because obviously that all comes with feelings, right? To be able to, in sociology, I think they call it sociological imagination, where you, again, we're separating, but this is just for an example. Yeah. It's where you put your put yourself in another person's shoes, right? So that's exactly like what we're trying to do. Now, if I have now this ability to then listen and you know, be in another person's shoes, right? What happens to my feelings? What happens to because my ability to listen, right? I can listen to you if you know, you're not shouting at me or not being rude at me or not, you know, saying things or huffing and puffing or, you know, I don't know, throwing your body around. I'll listen to you, you know, and I'd like I want to listen to a person so that they can listen to me. I think it's only fair, and that's the only way we can come as one. But then when feelings then start interjecting within this listening, within this me trying to be one with you, to be you, to hear you so I can hear myself as well. The feelings that interject, where do we put them? Are they a part of it? Because
the feelings are a reaction, isn't it?
Yeah. So what if? So the feeling. So even if I'm feeling that feeling, but so the thing is happening. They say that thing to me, and I feel angry.
Yeah.
I know I suffer a little bit from rage. I'm working on it. So I truly am. I truly am.
Yeah.
But it takes a while for me also to get mad. But when I do get mad, I get really mad.
Yeah.
And even if I am to listen and to say, okay, fine, here, I did mess up here. And I hear that you messed up here. That feeling of rage, that feeling of, I feel like this is unfair, that feeling of, why did you even say what you said in the first place? How does it all intertwine together then to then become one? Because then all I'm feeling is, I can't be one with you because you don't actually know what I'm feeling.
Yeah, so it's like, the way I look at it, see, a man who's listening, really listening,
yes,
is a man who is becoming, I guess I can call it compassion. Because compassion is to be in someone else's place, to be that person. So, I think maybe you're acting from love. That's the best way I can put it. There's a bit of danger in there in the sense that people can walk on you.
Absolutely.
But...
which is what's happened.
Yeah, I know. There's a bit of danger that can happen.
Yeah.
But, you see, if you do it... I think there could be fear even from the other person. There's a clear feeling that there's something I mustn't, because the person is not dealing with you anymore. The person is dealing with something much larger.
Are they not dealing with themselves?
Yeah, it's themselves because you are there. I mean, you are him.
Yeah. So they're dealing with themselves just in a not so disconnected comparison.
Yeah. It's almost, I would say, you could be the driver now in his own mind, kind of,
Yeah.
On a level that perhaps you can't understand.
Yeah.
So don't worry about how, I think what's important is to see what is happening.
Yes.
Even yourself, right? Even the idea, because you see right now you get this knowledge, right? And then you say, all right, this is how to start doing it. But it's the control process, right? So when someone's talking to you in a way, the whole rage, and then you look at it to say, I'm going to do this way so that I can be in control, so that things can turn out well. What we're saying is it's almost as if an eye that is always constantly looking at it.
Yeah.
You're not going left or right.
Yeah.
It's constantly there.
Yeah.
It is eternal.
Yeah.
So the feelings are just partial, You hear something, a certain feeling kind of comes up, triggers all of this and all that. But the looking is constant.
Yeah.
Including, so basically looking at him triggers an appropriate reaction, which is going in and learning about yourself. That is an entirely different way of living as you're having the argument.
Yes.
That on its own should lead things exactly where they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the secret. You shouldn't be... And as when you become comfortable with that, then you see it actually, how you're doing it in terms of dying and being able to change an action. The way I look at it, there's nothing that cannot be corrected immediately. Like the entirety of this whole thing, it's completely free. It can be shaped, done completely free in how it is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it brings a certain kind of freedom and beauty in it as well.
Yeah.
Because you see someone, this is someone who is really enraged, shouting and screaming but you just see that this is a man who's completely lost in himself. Like he doesn't even know why this is happening.
Yeah.
At least I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at how I'm trying to control myself and all that. So that at least you be the calm person, I guess, the bigger person in the argument. And when you have to flee, fly,
Yeah.
Don't stay where danger
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So we see a lion right now,
Yes.
the appropriate reaction is to go. But what's the point of clashing with someone if first you're not going to win? Because let's say you clash, even physically. Let's say you eliminate the person entirely. Is that really solving an issue? Because at the end of the day, you still have your own conflict of, oh my God, I've killed.
Yeah,
so
I've
on,
heard
so
someone. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I think observing and listening is much more important than actually doing a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's free. You don't have to study about looking at someone. It's just looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. To a point where you actually start feeling uncomfortable that, am I really listening to what this person is saying?
Yeah.
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 So you know what we're saying in the word when you repeat it?
Yes.
When you get that feeling.
Yeah.
To that point. And then, by the time you have to respond, of course, there's an appropriate, because the brain is a machine. You've recorded a certain thing. So you will, it's not like you're completely dumb or you're not aware. Yeah, you will have an appropriate answer.
Yeah.
Try it even just looking at someone or something like these things. Yeah, look at it really for a couple of seconds and look at how it is giving some sort of feedback in yourself.
Yeah.
You will see the beauty of this whole thing. What I mean by how everything is, you can change it. Like this could be a square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah. No, I believe that. I mean, like the things that I try to manifest and stuff. There's certain things that I've actually, where I have trusted my mind. And like you say, you can change this thing into a square. And I've done that, just by pure belief and, like you say, listening. Like a scenario has happened. I won't explain how or why. Like a little bit creepy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it was something that it was almost as if like I was deep within. I was sitting inside myself, almost like inside a room within myself. I wasn't necessarily within a physical space, but I was sitting in there, and. Maybe that's probably the closest I've come to listening. So now I have to, I'm not the best listener, I'm trying, but I definitely hear you on listening on opposite.
You see how this thing works? You see, we have the idea that there's me, right? There's my head, and then there's the world.
Yes.
But when you rationally first see how that's a lie, even scientifically, atoms and all that, and then you go to a layer, because you're investigating, right?
Yeah.
So you get over the first division, which is, let's say, small division like racial divisions. Okay, that's very small. You get over that.
Yeah.
Tribal divisions, you get over religious divisions, you get over science, even the body, molecules, everything eventually is molecules.
Yeah.
You get over that.
Yeah.
Now you go in yourself.
Yeah.
You see this whole thing of me and my, you say my thoughts, almost as if there's a you and then there's thoughts. Okay, you put it together. Yeah. Now, spirit, all that, you've eliminated all of that, right? Spirit, soul, all of that, it's thinking. All right, now you say, okay, how does this thing come about? You realize that it's some sort of feedback of what you experience. So it's time. So rationally, it's almost as if you are climbing stairs, right?
Yeah.
You get to a point where you see that actually what we mean by me and the world is a lie. There just is one thing.
Yeah.
That is somehow very clever and cunning into believing that it's different from others.
Yes.
So it's almost as if you've opened another door now. You are analyzing. And the more comfortable you are to a door, the more comfortable you are to jump to another. And the furthest I've gotten so far is when actually now you see that this is me.
Yeah.
Space and all that. So there's a complete freedom in doing all this. So when you're saying, as we're saying, it's almost as if you were in your head. So that whole manifestation was happening in your head. There's really nothing as in your head. It's this.
Yeah.
That's why you have people calling, they call it dreams.
Yeah.
They say, I had a premonition and so on. Well, my brother, you've always been in your head. So, you've got tables in your head.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You can feel things in your... So are then dreams dreams or just other parallel universes? Are you just alive in a different place?
No, there's no difference. See, I get the whole idea of parallel universe because, I mean, this thing is so free and everything is possible. But parallel universe to me is my projection, is my thoughts. You know, when you have, for example, two choices.
Yes.
That whole conflict of this over that.
Yeah.
Is parallel universes really.
Yes, yes.
Any thought is as real as this.
Yeah.
So you think of killing someone, you've killed someone.
Yeah.
You think of, you know, flying, you've really flown.
Yeah.
So, but you're not clear enough. You don't see how thoughts materialize. But in dreams, I guess you are quiet. You can see the materialization of thoughts.
Yeah.
And if you push it far, then it's no longer materialization of thoughts. You know, you bring it here.
Yeah. It's existing. It's present.
Yeah, it's present. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I call, now that's beauty.
Yeah.
Anything coming from there is beauty.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. There's no, a man who says someone is ugly, oh my God, that's such an evil person. People like that need to be, you know, we need to help them see beauty.
Yeah.
And I think do you think men would fight if we could see such beauty? In the sense that you see that everything has its place? Do you think someone would go and force someone else to behave a certain way, to say that maybe you are black?
No, not in when everything
South
has its
Africa?
place.
Yeah.
No. And everything truly does have its place.
It does have its place.
You know, everything is just sort of just a construct of control, a construct of a veil of just this maybe mistruth and misunderstanding.
Yeah, lack of truth.
Yeah.
We don't have truth, so we act always from partial things, and everything from us has to be partial.
Yeah.
Hence what we have.
Yeah.
So you see, when you see that, then it's a real job that you have. You actually have to fix this thing. There's a guy I was talking to online. He says, you know, well, I said our mind is not properly designed.
Yeah.
I was talking to another brother of mine. So he was very mad. He's like, what are you talking about? Did you ever create a mind for you to for you to
understand,
even say that? God created a mind, he knows or something. I'm like, okay, no, well, I didn't explain myself. But what I really meant is we've accumulated so many partial things.
Yes.
That's now we've twisted our minds kind of.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle piece that's not even like the pieces aren't going in together.
Yeah.
Just piece them together. Yeah. Yeah.
So a full mind is a very, very beautiful mind. It's very mysterious. And that mind doesn't know itself. It's always discovering about itself.
It's not tainted.
It's not tainted. It's constantly creating because it's discovering itself.
Yeah. Like the mind of a child, basically.
Yeah, the mind of a child. Mind of a child until we give it enough knowledge to say.
When it turns 7, apparently now you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, mind of a child.
So would you agree that is beauty? Anything coming out of that? Freedom.
Yeah, I believe beauty is the innocence that is untainted and that is willing to continuously explore without the limitations that we have been exposed to. I think that's beauty. I think being able to analyze everything and understand or ununderstand or be or not be, you know, or know and not know, you know, those things can just go together, and I think that is the beauty of it. It's the beauty of the unknown, of the exploration, of continuous, continuing eternity, you know. Yeah.
You know, one beautiful thing I find is, to me, this is death. I really mean it. I'm not waiting for any man. I'm not waiting for the end of the world.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for Christ or Muhammad.
Yeah.
I'm not even waiting for my own death. I see this as death. There's nothing else than this. And it's a very beautiful thing when you look at it that way. You know, I always wonder these people that have, I guess, encounters with ghosts and and speak to the
other side.
grandparents,
Yeah.
the other side.
Yeah.
I think there's a lack of clarity in there, but there's some truth in it. The sense that nothing ever goes. I mean, how do you think of anything really? If it isn't you picking up on something, you know, maybe you look at this lady, you know, this statue, you remember something, or you look. So it's always a feedback. When you're thinking about something, it's a feedback of something. So the people that we call dead are never really dead. As long as there's thinking,
Yeah.
there's never been a dead
Any kind
person.
of,
Yeah.
Maybe physically, yes.
Yeah, physically that's what we call it. But if even physically, if you look at it, I mean, where's the body going? It's here.
Yeah.
Its energy is just
going back into the ground.
nutrients,
and feeding back. Yeah.
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 So the same way for thought.
Yeah.
Thought is not going anywhere. And actually, if you look at it, isn't thought a dead thing? I mean, what would you think about that isn't already gone? Even your craziest ideas, okay, we're gonna live here right now.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know of living?
Am I gonna be in the room 700 years?
Yeah.
The doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know of living? It's because you've experienced an action of living, you know. It's the past that is just coming back to you. It's a dead thing. So I guess it gives a sense of well-being, a sense of freedom. There's no fear of death. The body acts the same way, I mean, the proper way. If there's danger, you act properly. There's unnecessary things that you remove. You know, the anxiety, the fear, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of everything.
Yeah,
I know it's a general question, but
what are
I'm
you
afraid of everything.
What?
Mostly myself, I think.
Yeah, but you just discovered that you do not
that I'm not, yes. But just, just in general, you know, that's I fear finding out of the expansion and what it could do to me or for me. And at the same time, I'm looking forward to. I can't tell if I'm excited or fearful. You know, if there's an anxiety to it or an actual excitement to it, or if it's both and they're trying to come together. But yeah, that's for me. It's
so you
knowing myself wholly, fully. I want to. I do want to. I don't know why I'm afraid of it. I just know that I am.
Do you know why you want to, though?
No. It's a knowing. There's a knowing in me. Like, when someone is doing this, it feels like that. Inside of me, there's this like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, sorry for...
So people will hear this one for sure.
Yeah, but there's this hey. There's this...
I think there's a calling. If you're afraid of it, yet you still want to go there. It's a calling. It's a... There's no escape from that. I mean, that's where we're going anyway.
Yeah.
There's no escape from it.
Yeah.
So you might as well get over it. You know, it's like in a swimming pool.
Yeah.
You can start with 1 toe, 2 toe, or you can just jump in.
It, you know? Yes, yeah.
And then, before you realize it, it's warm.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, the worst thing in this is no one can take you there.
Yeah.
Even you can't take yourself there because you have to die to yourself to be there. So, you can imagine how I feel sometimes when I'm talking about this. First, I can't even explain it. And then I can hold you the hand. I can hold your hand. We walk up to a certain level, like we've done here. We've walked a very big deal. But there's a level where now, we both have to kind of like disappear, And that comes naturally. You can't force it. I think that also responds to the question that friend of mine had, the control, why can't you stop the period, for instance?
Yeah.
So for her, it's like we have this idea of, if I could control things, I would only put the right things, the good things. So I would remove pain. But I would like to think pain is a very necessary thing.
Yeah. You can't
it's a
remove
very important thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no survival. You just jump straight there and you die.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So she wanted to know if, if what is there a women mind and a man mind? Like, is the mind divided into like is there such a thing as a mind for women and a mind for men? Or maybe we can also narrow it down and say, is there, we can broaden it and say, is there an African mind and is there an European mind? Do you think there's such a thing? An African mind?
Like the comparison? Like
no, like the mind itself, like the African mind is different from the European mind.
I don't think so.
Superficially, maybe. But
yes, but like the way with the way things are now, yes, of course.
Maybe how they act, what they like, and so on.
Yeah.
But is there really such a thing as a different
minds?
Mind?
No.
It's not.
No.
So this thing is just one thing. And there's no need to control, because if you control, then you have the assumption that there's a different thing from the mind that is controlling the mind. That's our problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we have a beautiful mind today?
I think so. I'm going to practice having the beautiful mind.
No, see, this thing, it can't be practiced. Don't practice.
Just jump in.
Yeah, no, there's don't practice. See, this whole thing of meditation and all that. I don't know, with this I've met a lot of people. Some of them, I hate calling people crazy, but some of them are just really crazy.
Yeah.
This whole thing of repeating things, torturing yourself so that you can be, it will give you some benefits maybe, I don't know. I don't want to go that road.
Torture myself how?
Some of them go days without eating, like the whole fasting, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
If you do it for physical benefit, I get it. Some of them whip themselves, they stay in the cold for days.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Yeah. No, that is slightly crazy.
And that's control.
Yes.
You don't have to go through all of this nonsense. Just the way you are with the arguments with your people there.
Yeah.
You have enough data to learn about yourself, Don't practice, just live. It's as simple as that.
Just live. I don't know how to do that. Like I don't go through extremes of fasting and.
Do you know how to talk?
I do know how to
speak.
Speak.
Do you know how you do the talking?
It just comes.
Yeah, well. Do you know how you do the walking?
It just comes.
Yeah, that's good enough. So you can't say you don't know how to live. You are living. What you're trying to do is to come up with an idea of living, and that's not living. Yeah. The thing is completely free, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
We bring our own limits.
Yeah.
I don't know where this limit, I think it's the devil in us.
Yeah. The shadow or the devil?
Why the shadow?
Are those two different things?
Is them? What's the difference between the shadow and the devil?
I thought Satan was the shadow. I thought he just showed just the dark side of us.
According to the Christians, I think, because there's two voices we hear, the good voice and in the bad one.
The bad voice.
Is it what, good angel and bad angel?
The bad is,
The bad is Satan, I guess.
Yeah, and the good one is
must be Jesus or something.
Yeah, but I mean...
See a division, how far we've
taken you see, that's what I'm saying, is that, and these two are both the same. You could find that they're brothers even. According to the Bible, I mean, if you think about it, they're basically brothers. So why does God love one more than the other, So for me, I mean...
And you see such a mind, such a rigid mind. It's too rigid, too evil. That's what I call evil, actually.
Rigidity.
Yeah, rigidity.
Yeah.
Naming things, dividing things.
Yeah.
As we usually do.
That is evil.
Yeah. Such a mind can never walk in that. Whatever that it will walk in, even the paradise, will be its own creation. It will live in an illusion forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe there's a constant waiting as well. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Yeah.
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 So this division thing, I think that's the key. You look at yourself, know yourself, and then see how far that will take you. Even the boredom of knowing yourself, because it's very boring at times. Just being there. You're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You go somewhere else. but it takes that much, you know, because you've corrupted a man so bad that at some point you have to do the opposite.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a good lot, not a bad lot.
Yeah,
So
it's a good lot. But I think we maybe answered some of your questions and some of the questions they had given to us.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I will be back.
Please
I hope
do.
so. Please invite
do,
me
yeah.
again. It's definitely important to talk about stuff like this. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me here.
No, perfect. Whatever you're always welcome. This space really is free. And I'm going to push it as far as I can. I have an image of it, although I hate imagination. But what I've seen, I don't want to call it imagination, but I've seen exactly where it should be, how it should be. And for it to work, it needs people that are really free, you know?
Yeah.
People that have gone through this and that will not take this and easily turn it into some sort of, you know, because we are so corrupt, we can change this thing into so many things.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
So you're always welcome, really. This isn't mine.
Yeah.
I don't see it as my podcast. I even find it hard to call it podcast, but I guess it's a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not mine, really. It's anyone's. You know, there's some people that I sometimes argue with that say, you know, the guests you have this way and that way. You should invite me and I'll show you. You know, it's you know, the whole competition thing. I know more and so on.
Mm.
I'm playing the game of not knowing. He's playing the game of knowing. You know, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
So I always tell them, no, you're welcome. You know, come. Actually, I'm not the host. You can sit there and guide the directors, guide us through the whole conversation. And when you put it that way, they get ready, and then 2 days before they run away, because now for the first time they see, they see how serious it becomes.
It is, yes. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm just saying that to let you know, this isn't mine, really. I think it shouldn't belong to anyone. Anyone who's willing to investigate and let truth come up is welcome, and you know, can take over even from here. I don't even have to be here. Like, someone else can take over from here.
Yeah.
Mm. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Ross. I really enjoyed this so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Loved it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us. This is Mirror Mind. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask them. But as I always say, this isn't something you take at face value. It's something you doubt. It's serious work. It's no entertainment. If you if you're here because you want to, because you're bored, maybe you want to entertain yourself, or you're here because you want to achieve something, you're in for a very, very bad surprise. It's some very serious thing. This is, but it's seriously beautiful. So,
I agree. Definitely.
So thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right.